Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Solana. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if you want more context on the moves that we're going to be discussing today. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we're just going to go over quickly what we are looking for here as a potential upside, where we're looking for the possibility that we could see this as an A, a B, and then we're looking for this C wave to the upside. Now our 1-to-1 would actually be up here towards this 43.11, and we do have this 0.618, which would be a minimum requirement I'd want to see here for this as a C wave lower down here towards the highs of these A's. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do move up into this zone, possibly we could look to get a double top in this area. Alternatively, what we need to be careful of on the more bearish side here is that we could have this as a B wave into this high. Now, I don't really like counting this in the way. I do think the other count is more probable, but for as long as the B wave high actually holds over here, what I'm on the lookout for is that we could actually look to reject down in a three-wave structure here, where we look for something more along these lines, where we are seeing a bigger A, a B, and a C. Now, our typical rejection area for something like this would actually be where we currently are. We've come up into the 786. We do have this 854 slightly above us. So we're going to go over these internals here, and then we're going to go over those bullish ones where we could actually be looking to extend out here in that C wave. So what we need to be careful of here within the bearish count effectively is that from further back here, what we could have is this is a W, this is an X, and looking at this as A, B, and C to the upside. Now, if this is the case and we're looking at this as a C wave to the upside, there is potential that this is really completed into this high over here. And if this is the case, effectively what we would be saying is that within this structure, what we had is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, we always need to be careful if this is actually a high point here, that we could still look to find support at this zone of this $20.53 to this 19.31. Invalidation of this idea of looking for extension up here would actually come by crossing this 18.44. So if we are looking for that bearish scenario here, we're looking at this as a corrective move to the upside here, looking for that continuation down, then really what we want to see is price start to fall away here and look to invalidate this idea of possible further extension. Otherwise, we've got to be careful that that more bullish count could actually still be in play. So this is what I'm just looking out for here in the shorter term here. If we do see this move complete into this high, what I want to see is this wave 4 get taken out first at this 20.49, and then I want to see this low get taken out here. Now, the bullish way that we were discussing this was actually saying there was two ways that we were looking at it. So I've changed this one slightly. Now, if we are looking at this as a single 5-wave move to the upside here, where this is actually going to look to complete, what we could actually have is that this could be 1, 2, 3 into this high here. We could be looking for this as a fourth, and then we're looking for another 3-wave move to the upside. Now, this would be counting this move slightly different, but effectively what we'd be looking for in the higher end of this would be another 5-wave structure to the upside. Now, our 1-to-1, if this is an A, a B, and a C, would actually be up here towards this zone of this 23.93. So we need to be looking out for this possibility that if we do see this as A, B, and C to the upside here, this could potentially then tie in with this idea of having this as a 5th wave to the upside in just a simple ABC pattern. Now, if we do complete into these highs, we do have a target box that is up in this area. Now, this target box has some weekly and monthly naked points of control towards the lower end of this, as well as this daily naked point of control sitting here towards this zone of this 23.45. So I will be keeping an eye on this area, particularly because if we come back out here, we can see that we do have some swing highs in this area. So looking for that possibility of a swing failure off of one of these zones would be quite likely if we are going to see that rejection to the downside. Now, like I said, if we are looking at this as a 5-wave move here, ideally what I want to see then is that move back to the downside here, looking for support to come back in here. So if we are looking at this as a diagonal and we're looking for that continuation up, effectively what we want to see is an ABC pattern back to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this as a wave 1 here and we do get this additional 3-wave structure to the upside here, then get a bigger break to the downside, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this area here. This would align with coming back into our golden pocket area here at this $16 to this 15.71. Could also potentially align with coming back into this channel depending on how long it takes to play out, but that would be what I'm looking for here as that possible wave 2 situation. And then if we're looking for continuation up, looking for this as a third wave up here towards this 1.618, this 3216, would still have to be careful with this. If we do see something like this, we could just get a 3-wave move here into this zone, and this could still just be A, B, and then we still look for that move to the downside. So what we want to see if we're looking for a bullish move here is a push up to this zone here of this 1618 at this 3216 if we are looking at this in this way. Now there are other alternatives of this. We could also argue that within this structure we have something like this where we've got a 1-2, a 1-2, another 1-2 here, and effectively what we are doing is looking for another 1 and a 2 here. Now it is also possible that within this smaller series of moves over here, what we could have is that within this structure here we could have 1-2, 1-2, and another 1-2 here, and then we start to push up in a much bigger way. But what I'm looking for more confidence within counting this move in this way is a move up to this 2673. Now if we do see a move up to this 2673 directly, what I would then be looking for would be the potential that we still have some additional fourths and fifths in play here. Now this would all depend on exactly where this yellow count actually completes, but if it did have to complete here into this 2937 to this 2770, effectively what we could be looking for then is another fourth and a fifth here towards this 3087, then an additional fourth and a fifth, which could look to push us up towards this 3506 to this 3149. Now if we are looking at extending out in this way, what I would be looking for as a possible target for the end of this fifth wave would be this 3297. This would align with the 3.618 of this as a wave 1. So going to be keeping an eye on this if we do see price move up. Now there are always alternate ways that we could look at this extending. So if we are looking at this extending at the end of this move here, so like I said, we have this potential of 1-2, 1-2 here as well. Now, as long as we actually hold this 2049, what we could actually see here is just a 3-wave move down. So we have actually come down already into this 50% here. If we start to break to the upside in a bigger way and we move up to this 2550, I will be looking out for this possibility that this move is extending out in this 5-wave structure here, in which case then you can see how it would be possible here that if this is another, either this is 1-2 here, or we say that this is 1-2, 1-2 here, then this effectively would be a 3rd wave extending out, which would mean that we're going to see this push up a lot higher. So this is what I want to see if we're looking for that bullish break to the upside in a bigger way here. I want to see this, hold this support zone here. If we start to lose 2098, it becomes less likely that we are going to see this continuation up in this way that we have it marked out here. Now, if we actually do look to invalidate this low here at this 2049, what this could still be is there is another way of reading this where we could just say that we had an extension in this wave 1 here. So this would still fit into the same idea of where this is 1, 2, and then we're looking for this 3rd, 4th, and 5th to the upside. So this white count here, because we have actually already come up to the 1.618 if this is a 1 and a 2. So the difference with this is it would be saying that our extension within this wave 3 is in the wave 1, and what we're looking for is that this is 1, 2, 3. So if we do get a 3-wave move that actually moves down past this 2053 and sweeps this low, we could still see something like this where we get this as a corrective structure down here, and then we still look for this 5th wave to the upside. So really, as long as we hold above this level here, which is this $20, potentially there is that possibility for this extension to continue to the upside here. And if we did see something like this, come back down here, push back to the upside, then what I would be looking for within this count is an additional 4th wave into here. So this, if I just switch this back on, would account to actually being this wave 4 over here. So this is why, if we do see something along these lines and we actually see this as 1, 2, 1, 2, this becomes our 3rd wave over here, then potentially we could be looking for that 4th wave down. Now, looking for this idea that within the structure, this all becomes our 3rd wave, get an additional 4th and a 5th, and then we're starting to push up in a bigger way here. So if this is the case, this would become 1, 2, 3. We'd be looking for this as our 4th wave here. 2158 to this 1930 would become that support zone, and then looking for that continuation up. So we need to see these areas hold and confirm these counts, but as long as we continue to set higher lows here, potentially we could see a direct push to the upside, but we also need to just be careful of that bearish count as well, which is saying that, you know, we're pretty close to that. We've already hit the 1-to-1 of this W wave here. And what we need to be careful of is, even if we do progress just a little bit higher here, this 1-to-1 of this move here at this 2363 could potentially be a rejection point if we do look to push up, or this 1236 of this Y wave. Now the key thing here is that if this is a corrective count to the upside here, what I would be expecting is price to break down and take these levels. If we fail to start taking these levels, then we have that possibility of the extension. If we do start to break down and take these levels, we could technically still find support lower down here towards the 1665 to this 1434 region, if this is going to become a bigger structure where this is A, B, and C. But if we start to lose this level, then really what I would be looking for here is the possibility that we could see this C wave starting out to the downside, looking towards this zone here of this 1121 as a possible target. Having a look at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that we came down here towards this 2152 and we hit this zone. Now we have come back up into these central lines. I'm very interested to see whether these are going to be resistance here, and we're just going to see this A, B, and C, and we continue to the downside, or whether we actually start to break back above these. If we do start to move back above these lines, potential targets for today is this 2260, this 2327, this 2369, and this level here of this 2439. Our price can always move through these zones, so we need to be aware of that. However, if we do actually face resistance here, potentially what we could see is a revisit to this R1 at this 2153. If we look to push down deeper here, we have this 2110, we have this 2041, and then we have this lower level here of this $20 as a possibility for downside targets today. So within this idea of extension here, you know, if we're saying that this is A and or wave 1 and 2 or A and B, then potentially what we could be looking for here is that possibility of seeing something like this, where we come back down and retest one of these levels. If we are looking at the possibility of a deeper retracement, we could actually be looking for some of these lower zones here. This one is aligning quite nicely with that 618 level, so going to be keeping an eye on that. Now, if we switch this over onto the weekly pivots, what we can see is, like we were saying, we're looking for this potential support to come here in these central lines. We have hit this area. Now, what I'm looking out for is possibility to interact with this S1 at this 2307. Higher targets are this 2475 and this 2707. So those higher ones would probably only come into play if we're looking at an extension. If we do see something like this, where this becomes A, B, and C, and then we look to reject from this, I will be keeping an eye on these central pivot lines as possible support again between this 2105 and this $20.44. If, however, we start to lose these, what we could see is price could be gravitated towards this 1905, this 1673, and this lower level here of this 1502. Now, if we just flip these over onto the monthly, what we can see here is that we are still above these central lines. We held these, retested. Now, we do have this level up here, which we're keeping an eye on, 2317. So that would align a little bit with that that idea of that move to the upside here in a three-wave move. If we do manage to move above this zone, though, what we could actually see is price move up towards this 2749, and another upside target for this month is this 3265. So that would align with this higher target box that we've got over here. Would be very interesting to see how we get or not. That's why I'm looking for this possibility of this direct extension here. If we do look to push up directly, then potentially some of these targets might come into play. Now, if we are arguing that, you know, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, what we could then see is that possibility of a deeper retracement here for that wave 4, possibly coming back down into these levels here of this 1843 to this 1757. Throughout this month, if we start to lose this as a support zone, what this could indicate is that price could actually be moving back down towards this R1 line at this 3169. Other targets are this $8.50, and we do have this R3 all the way down here at this $4.20. So we need to be careful about losing these lines, but as long as we actually hold these, then we could still see price look to progress to the upside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.